Dear reader, listener, this is week 24. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you're beginning this audio version of Taught on week 24, I would advise going back to listen to weeks 1 through 23 and the foreword and prologue. All of these are in order in the playlist and can be accessed on the YouTube channel Taught at Taught 2022. This character's journal will make much more sense if you start at her beginning. Thank you for reading, listening. Taught, week 24, Tuesday, February 7th, 2017, 4 p.m. I really want to put on a great lesson for Derek, because it would be awesome to show him exactly what I can do. But I'm over all this. Yep, in my meditation this morning, it hit me that I don't want to participate in this process anymore. What I mean is, I'm over being a teacher as administration defines it. I love my kids. They are great. But I just can't fake a bunch of crap to please anyone anymore. I find it soul sucking. This whole performance plan has been the most devaluing experience I have ever been a part of. If I'm such a sucky teacher, why hasn't anyone helped me be better? The short answer is that I'm not a sucky teacher. But for one 50-minute period, all hell broke loose in my classroom. And based on that one 50-minute period, I got put on an improvement plan. So it dawned on me during my meditation that I have spent about 5 months simpering around trying to fit my square peg self into this fucking round hole system. And this is the thing we are supposed to be preventing in education. My eval is next week. I had planned to stop the debates and do one of Pauline's mini lessons to make a brochure, complete with a video clip and activity. And God, Pauline has been up my butt micromanaging me on how to teach it ever since I asked her for it. But this morning, I knew I wasn't going to teach that. I knew it when I sat down to put the lesson plan together to send to Derek. If I hadn't had my burning resentment and newfound philosophy of just being done, a group of my third hour students came in early to prepare for their debates, and they were so excited and absorbed in their project that I just knew I could not teach this other lesson. I want to see their debates. I want to see them because I want to know that I'm doing something that fucking matters. I don't want to stop their momentum because the powers that be have decided that I need to be evaluated. This is not why I teach. I teach to attempt to make kids think and hopefully to love learning as much as I do. And honestly, in my heart, I believe that for some kids, it means the difference between getting by and having the tools to push themselves farther. I give them 100%, and then they get to choose what to do with that. Furthermore, I have to cling to the hope that their future selves will use logical thinking to make their decisions and actually listen to the rhetoric around them and determine accurately what is fact and what is opinion and how it is being backed up and why. And to take even another step further, I hope my students one day use these skills to elect their leaders. I'm willing to bet none of them will ever make a brochure about anything. But statistics show that about one half of them will grow up and vote. I pulled up my email, and there was an email from Derek inquiring as to why he had not received my lesson plan. I deleted it and went and helped my students with their debate. After all, they're debating on Monday. Wednesday, February 8th, 2017, 7 a.m. This meditation and yoga shit may be harder than the caffeine. Still Wednesday, February 8th, 2017, 4 p.m. So, that little deleted email from Derek did not go quite how I thought it would. Yes, I was caught up in another Norma Ray moment. And yes, I was, in my mind, fighting for liberty, freedom of speech, and the power of the democratic process. But I also thought that Derek would forget about the email and the lesson plan himself. I mean, it's not that far-fetched. He's super busy, and he forgets really important stuff all the time. I thought when he came in for the eval, I would just hand him something. I hadn't gotten quite that far. Instead, I got called into his office on my plan time. Then he yelled at me. He's never yelled at me before. Apparently, the assistant superintendent, Brian, was planning on coming along with Derek to my evaluation. Brian wanted the lesson plan 2 days ago, and during the yelling, which does not require responses from me, really a rant, it sounds as if I'm their poster child for how their district performance improvement plans work. Derek informs me that I will be meeting with him and Brian this week before my evaluation, and I better have a fucking lesson plan to both of them before that meeting. And yes, he said fucking lesson plan. Then he informed me that he was calling Brian right then to set up that meeting time. Somehow, as he's ordering me around and postulating, I'm supposed to be grateful at being given these second chances. And I'm so lucky to have him, my friend, in my corner. He implies that I am the opposite of grateful. Actually, he called me ungrateful and said I was self sabotaging. Over a lesson plan? At some point, I kind of left my body and felt removed from this whole situation. I sat there as Derek and Brian chatted on the phone about the barbecue their families, and it sounds like Superintendent Nick and Anita were at also, had last weekend, and shared some private joke about roasted corn on the cob that sounded like it could be offensive on many levels, but made them both laugh for several seconds. Then Derek inquired about whether my plan time worked for our little meeting and what day best worked for Brian. After several more jokes about Thursdays and you know what happens on Thursdays, ha 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 ha, they finally agreed that next Monday, the day before my eval, would have to work. Derek pulls a pair of reading glasses out of his top desk drawer and begins using the mouse on his desk to navigate around his computer screen, of which I can only see the back of, with the exception of the lights reflected on his glasses. Then they spend an additional 2 minutes discussing where they will meet for lunch today, and finally Derek hangs up. He tells me where to be, what time, what to say, and what not to say. He wraps up asking me if I have questions. I want to say yes. Why are you doing this to me? But instead, I just say no and leave because I have not been at this meeting. I do not exist for them. They have their boys' club, their family's holiday together. And as for me, well, I am their job. We are not part of the same system. I am their job. We are not working together to create world changers, offer aid to those who need us, intervene when no one else will, create lifelong learners, or any of the other bullshit things we are supposed to be doing. I I am making lesson plans and doing evaluation dog and pony shows. They are having lunch together in meetings and spending Thursdays doing God knows what. We are not part of the same system. They are in a group that I work for, and we all know it now. It's strange how I actually didn't know it before that moment. I really had drank the Kool-Aid, and I really did think there was a we. Now I know it's just me and them. And maybe I'm creating this because when I got out of bed this morning, I did believe I was on the same page as everyone I work with. Maybe in different paragraphs, but the same page nonetheless. Now I know we're not operating out of the same book, and I cannot unknow this knowledge. Thursday, February 9th, 2017, 3:45 p.m. Oh, my 8th graders are in an uproar. Today they were informing me that there is a very big field trip on Monday for their history classes. This is the same day debates will start. No worries, I tried to assure them. I could just let students not going on the field trip debate that day, and the ones going would go on another day. Debates take a couple of weeks to finish up. We only finish 3 or 4 per class each day. But they don't want to miss any of their fellow classmates' debates. Now what'll we do? I had forgotten about this stupid field trip. I know the history lead, Carrie, has sent me no less than a dozen emails about it, but I really didn't think it affected me until now. I look at the class rosters and see that about half of every one of my eighth grade classes is going to be absent on Monday. And then I have a brilliant, awful idea. I'd been planning on showing the Debaters movie anyway. Why not just show the first part of it to my classes on Monday? This was the brilliant part of my idea. The awful part was when I had the realization that this would be an easy day to plan for a substitute, which would mean I could call in sick on Monday and miss my meeting with Derek and Brian. And yes, I accept that I am now consciously trying to get fired, but I also accept that I'm operating out of a different book. And from where I am, I'm numb to what anyone else wants from me, except me and Paulo and Mimi.